Okay, welcome. I'd like to call this Finance Committee meeting to order. The first item we have is the assignment for request for council action, 2449, 2024 membership renewal to Main Street Medina, 2450 general liability insurance renewal, Witchert Insurance, 2451 donate PC to Medina City Schools IT, 2452 bids for the 2024 concrete pavement joint sealing, 2453 bids for the 24 concrete street repair, 2454 amend ordinance 524 Medina Street bridge replacement, 2455 budget amendments, 2456 engineering design services for Progress Drive water tower recoding, 2457 body camera upgrade project for the police, 2458 cybersecurity liability insurance renewal, 2459 expenditure over 20,000 Coulter Ventures Rogue Fitness Police Workout Room, 2460 expenditure over 20,000 Design 2 Wellness Fitness Equipment for MCRC. The next item we have is 2431, which is amend salaries and benefits code municipal court step increases. We have Cindy with us today to explain this.
Thank you, Mr. President. These three key staff members are on the pay step code, and what we're looking to do, because where they fall with other municipal courts, we would like to increase them to the next step to kind of keep in balance with all the other municipal courts. So we're just asking you to approve them go from, as you can see, from a 5 to a 6, a 9 to a 10, and a 7 to an 8.
Yeah, we talked about this a little bit with the judge, and I guess the question is this retroactive, if I recall, to January 1st, or is it?
Yes, it would be retroactive to January 1st.
And also, you have enough money available in your budget so we don't have to give you any more money.
Correct.
That's what I like to hear. It's always good. And I do understand the issues with respect to the pay, and I think the future ones we're going to talk about is bringing people in at a different rate too, possibly, depending on their experience.
Correct.
Okay. So,
We just try to rectify these three, especially with our specialized docket. We have a probation officer who's doing dual roles with the specialized docket.
now, I do understand too, periodically with the city, Keith, we do this with all of our people to see, with other municipalities where we stand.
We haven't done that in quite a while, but we have done it, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, we probably should do it again. I think you're correct. It's been at least 5 years, I want to say, that we've looked at that, and especially recently with the cost of living being where it is, 7%, 8% in the last couple of years, it's a dramatic difference in the pay scales of all employees. So, anybody have any questions?
I do. You're talking about the entire pay scale?
Yeah, I mean, from various, where do we stand?
Right.
Based upon our peers, just so we know.
No, that's fine.
And I don't think we've ever really looked at that based upon recently with their increases in the cost of living being so high. They used to be cost of living below 1%, but now
Right.
we're all out of whack.
Okay, Lorraine's off this week, but I could talk to her and see if we can't put that together and get it back to council.
Right. I mean, we have to be realistic on what we can pay, but we also got to be realistic
Understood.
on what people should be making.
Yes,
Yes,
there's a balance there.
there's about.
The other one we used to get, and I think it was Westlake, but they haven't done it in a few years. They used to email us periodically, and they would want a list of our pays for different positions over the whole city. And then the deal was if we answered them when they got done, they would send it back to us. And they had asked, I don't know, like a dozen cities or a couple dozen cities. So when we got it back, you could say, okay, what's a, basket weaver paid? And you could look up basket weaver and look across and get a range.
Right.
They
No, I
haven't, but
think-
they haven't done that. They used to, but we haven't gotten that from them in a long time.
Right. No.
And see, at the municipal court, I did that. I went to Ohio, other municipal courts, and asked them, and I got not a whole lot of information, but I did get some to where we were falling short on some aspects, and we were right in the middle for others. So it was very good information.
Yep.
I move to approve with the emergency clause.
Second, including the emergency clause?
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. 2432, a lease contract with Lake Business Products with the Muni Court.
What we're looking to do is Judge Werner's administrative assistant, Jackie, she's in desperate need of a good printer. And also, we want to have a printer for the magistrates that once we get to the new building, we can then transfer it over to the magistrates courtroom. I had the law director look over the contract with Lake Business Products, and he made his corrections. And if council approves, we'll be moving forward.
What do you have there now? Is it an old printer, or what's going with that one?
Jackie has a printer that is no longer serviceable. It's over 5 years old, so Lake Business Products can't service it, and they can't get parts like they normally would. The magistrate's courtroom, that one keeps breaking down because they print, if you know how the magistrate's courtroom work, they print in the magistrate's office, and they go through the door to get it. They use it so often that it's not keeping up with capacity. So we own it one. It's just a small desk printer. We're going to give that to the bookkeeper and get them something that's more useful that we can take over to the other court, or the courthouse.
Okay. Questions?
Move to approve.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. 2449, a 2024 membership renewal to Main Street Medina. And we have our friends from Main Street here, so Mayor.
Thank you. The request is for the $30,000 that we give them each year. I know at the last council meeting, I know George gave a pretty comprehensive year-end review, and they're here if there are any questions, but I would encourage council to continue the good work that Main Street does for the city of Medina.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions for anybody? No? We appreciate the presentation. That was timely, of course, and we do understand, and I think everybody on council I can speak for, that we do believe that it's an important organization to help our square and help the vibrancy of our square, and the programs that you guys handle and the time you put into it. I think everybody really appreciates it. I don't think there's anybody here that doesn't.
Here, here.
Move to approve.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Wasn't that was the easiest, just like that. 2450, general liability insurance renewal. Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. President. So I know you have all the paperwork. I just have some notes here for when we met with Weichert Insurance for the renewal. First of all, I apologize because we're taking it from finance to council so that we can pass it without the emergency clause because I have to sign the paperwork before the end of March. We get them the information as early as we can in January or early February, but it takes them a while to get the information from the insurance company because they can't start the process until they see the entire year before claims history, and sometimes that is not as timely coming in. A couple things I wanted to highlight for you. Mr. Huber and Sherry and I met with them pretty extensively. So the renewal is about 10%. But if you take out the car, the auto, you'll see that went from $39,000 to $48,000. And the explanation for that is somehow in 2022, we were being charged for 90 vehicles, although we reported to them we had 139 vehicles at that time. So rather than in 2023, going from 90 to 139, they began to incrementally increase it, so we didn't take the hit all at once. So in 2023, we paid the rate for 102 vehicles, although we had 142. And this year, we're paying for 112 vehicles, so they're adding about 12 a year. But our actual vehicle number is now 147. So this will continue incrementally. That's a 24% increase in the auto alone. If you take the auto out of it, our overall increase is closer to 6%. And the average across the state, according to Weichert, is in the 10 to 15% range. So their explanation is our claims history is very good, just as it is with our insurance. And it's really this auto that's throwing it out of whack a little bit.
Questions?
Move to approve.
Second?
All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
2451, donate PCs to Medina City Schools. That's you again? Okay, Mayor.
Yeah, Darren's off today. So these items that we're donating are 7 to 9 years old. And we are giving them to the schools because even though they're 7 to 9 years old, some of them are newer than what the school is currently using. So it permits them to get another number of years out of them. Darren's comment is it's a huge help to the schools because it's more of a challenge with the OS updates. Some of their machines won't support the updates that are required now, and some of the softwares are saying you have to have the more recent update. So this will help accomplish that for them, and I know we've done this before with them.
Any questions? Mr. Shields?
I'm going to abstain since it's my employer.
Move to approve?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
2452, bids for the 2024 concrete pavement joint sealing. Patrick?
Thank you, Mr. President. This is our annual program to seal concrete pavement joints. We always consider this as like changing the oil in your car. It's maintenance, and it extends the life of the pavements.
Any questions?
Move to approve.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 2453, bids for the 2024 concrete street repair. Patrick?
Again, this is our annual program throughout the city to replace concrete panels where necessary.
Questions?
Mr. Chairman.
Paul?
Patrick, when do you anticipate the list being developed?
We should have that in the next 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay, all right.
Yep.
If you could distribute it then, please.
Absolutely, sure.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Move to approve.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 2454, amend ordinance 524 regarding Banana Street Bridge replacement. Patrick?
524 was an ordinance that council passed authorizing Cunningham to do the design services for the Medina Street Bridge. I was asked by the Finance Department to bring this back to change the account numbers only, doesn't change the amount or anything. And this reflects the grant. The grant will pay 79% of this cost, so they wanted to modify the account numbers accordingly.
Questions?
Move to approve.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. 2455, budget amendments. We just have one, 2412. Keith?
First one's to transfer. The next three are things, like we got the reimbursement from the county for the parking deck, and then the LST, we don't have enough money on that PO. And then the rec center project, and then the final one is a reduction. We ended up with more appropriations than we could have in the Medina Square Lighting Fund.
Any questions?
Move to approve.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. 2456, engineering design services for the Progress Drive Water Tower recoding. This is Patrick or Nino?
Thank you. Patrick worked on this with Andy from our water department. If you recall the contract that we had back with the South Court Tower with Dixon, it involved the engineering, the specifications being written, the contract documents, the bidding, and overseeing the project. Well, this is for the Progress Drive tank, and it'll be the similar pre-assessment, pre-spec assessment, tech specifications. They're going to write the bid documents, do the bidding, and oversee the project. There might be some welding and repairs needed for the exterior coating as well.
And Mr. Huber looked at this, or does he have to look at this?
I believe, I don't know if Greg, did you get a chance to see the entire document? It's similar to what we had prior, but
Could you pass this subject to my review, and I'll take a look at it again? I looked at so many contracts, I can't remember whether I looked at this or not.
No problem.
thank you.
Any other questions?
I'll make a motion to approve the contract subject to final approval of the law director.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. 2457, the purchase of body camera and in-car camera upgrade project for the police. Chief Kinney.
Thank you, Mr. President. If you recall, a little over 5 years ago, we upgraded our body cameras, car cameras. We're getting about 5 years out of them. The time prior to that was in 2013. So it's time. The cameras that we have right now, the batteries are running low. Their parts are difficult to find to replace. It's essentially an end-of-life system. So we did the research to look for a new camera vendor. We looked at Axon, we looked at GTAC, and we decided that Motorola still provided the best value, and it would be a seamless transition to our existing system. It's the same vendor. We do have a grant for $87,182 granted by the state of Ohio that will offset this total cost. The total cost is $195,556.36. The emergency clause is requested because our current body cameras are failing and we're having battery issues. And I would also request that we make this subject to the law director's approval because I don't think he's seen this contract yet.
Okay, any questions?
All right, I'll make a motion to approve with the emergency clause and subject to final approval of the law director of the contract.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. 2458, cybersecurity liability insurance renewal. Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. President. So this is in increasing the cybersecurity for the city. We had this reviewed with Crane Langner. It's going from, the expiring policy was $24,125, and this is going up to $26,603, which is about a 10% increase. It's the recommendation after review of the policy by Crane Langner, who we use for this sort of thing, that it's a good policy, it's a good value. And again, with the average being 10 to 15%, coming in at 10 seems to serve us well.
Thank you. Questions?
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. 2459, expenditure over $20,000 to Coulter Ventures Rogue Fitness Workout Room. Mayor?
Right, Barbara's not here either. So this is for the City Hall workout room. This is going to be paid for by the grants or foundations that we got money for. But this is to approve the amount of just under $35,000, $34,976.28 per the attached quote. This list of equipment was put together by a number of folks at the police department, as well as some recommendations from Murray Van Epp, who also has some knowledge in this realm. And on your RCA there, that last paragraph talks about the various funding that we received from the Cleveland Clinic's President's Fund, the Van Epp Foundation, Medical Mutual, and the Thomas and Joe Lincoln Foundation.
Thank you. Any questions?
Oh, I'm sorry. I think we want the emergency clause as well, if possible. Or maybe we don't need that for finance only.
Yeah, finance only, you don't.
Okay, disregard.
Okay, any other questions?
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. And 2460, an expenditure over $20,000 for Design to Wellness, MCRC Fitness Equipment. Jansen?
Thank you, Mr. President. This is some new ellipticals for the rec center in addition to what we already have. These new units also have touchscreen consoles, very much like our new treadmills that we got. And the quote is utilizing the Sourcewell Cooperative Purchasing Contract. And we did budget for $35,000 of new fitness equipment for this year.
Thank you. Any questions?
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Anything else come before finance before we entertain our motion for executive session? Okay.
If not, I'll make a motion to go into executive session at 6:20 PM for the purpose of to consider the purchase of property for a public purpose, because premature disclosure of information would give an unfair competitive or bargain advantage to a person whose personal or private interest is adverse to the public interest, to include the mayor, the law director, and Mr. Patton.
Second.
Will the clerk please call the roll?
DeSalvo. Yes. Rose.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Hare.
Yes.
Motion passes.
We'll be
6-0.
recessing into executive session to discuss the items that Mr. Shields mentioned, reconvening into finance, taking no action of any item discussed in executive session, and then adjourning from finance. We are in recess.